what is your original sin? Welcome to Original Sin, the unapologetic podcast by Glowreel, where brilliant women say the things the old boys club wishes we wouldn't. I'm your host, Shilpa, and I chat with some of Australia's most influential women to dig into the truths, taboos, and untold stories that redefine power, leadership, and womanhood. Before we get into it, a quick shout out to our sponsor, Tread Softly. Season 1 of Original Sin is brought to you by Tread Softly, who are a naturally lighter in alcohol and certified sustainable wine brand. Tread Softly also has an award-winning non-alcoholic range, which is my personal favourite and my go-to for social events. This year, Tread Softly launched the Next Generation Female Winemaker program to support a rising star in the industry and continue to advocate for all types of social responsibility, which we love to see. Head to treadsoftly.com to learn more and to check out the beautiful range of Tread Softly wines. Bronte Campbell, welcome to Original Sin.
Shilpa, thank you for having me. So nice to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here today. Now, I feel like everyone in Australia will know who you are.
I don't think so. I do not think that is true.
So well. Competitive swimmer, like Olympian, like 4-time Olympian.
Yeah.
You've won 3 golds. You're founder of Earthletica. I mean, I'm in awe of you. Honestly, I was like, this woman, she's incredible.
That's very kind, but it's funny hearing like achievements ticked off like that because it definitely doesn't feel like that. I feel like there's always more to do, and there's always like the best things are still in front of me, which is a nice feeling. But I don't spend a lot of time looking back, so it is sometimes nice to be like, oh yeah, there were some good things as well that have already happened.
Pretty amazing things. I'm interested to hear more about like what's kind of ahead as well, or what you're thinking. But before we get into that, is there something that you can share about yourself that wouldn't show up in your bio on your Wikipedia page, on like the Olympics page?
Oh, I mean, I hope that there's a lot about me that's not on the internet because I first started speaking in media when I was 17 and I qualified for my first Olympics. But I actually am fairly private. So I think there's hopefully a lot, even though there's not a lot to hide per se. I just, what would someone not know about me? Oh, I mean, I do end up putting quite a lot of it on Instagram. The things that I'm interested in, I do end up sharing with people. I was going to be like, oh, I quite like pottery and creating and writing. And like, that's something that I really like. That's probably not on Wikipedia, but it's probably on my Instagram. So if you look hard enough, it's probably out there somewhere.
Yeah, interesting. I did read somewhere, I can't remember what webpage it was on, but that you are also a poet and that you would write poems before races and read them.
Yeah, to the team. Yeah, I started doing that in 2013, which is a long time ago now.
So cool.
Just for the team, just as like a last thing before we all go out together. I mean, hearing it's like, oh, you are a poet. I mean, I've not published anything anywhere. I just write them for myself and for the team. So
it makes you a poet.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, if someone else said to me like, oh, I'm a writer, and I'd be like, oh, what have you written? They're like, oh, I haven't published anything. I just love writing. I'd be like, then you're a writer, of course. Yeah. So maybe we can claim that.
You so should add it to your Instagram bio. Poet.
Why not?
That's really lovely. I think it's a really nice way to kind of motivate the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's special to share those sort of things. That's like a very bonding thing for the team. It's sort of it is done on purpose, especially as I got older in my career. I could have very easily been like, oh yeah, that was like a fun thing I did when I was younger. But it's definitely done on purpose because it's a personal thing that you're then getting. Like it's quite a vulnerable thing to get up and share something that you've created with a group of people. It's honestly still very nerve-wracking for me to do that. But you have to do that, particularly as you get to be a leader on the team. You have to like show bits of yourself. You can't hide it all. And it's through that you end up creating like stronger bonds within the team. And you definitely have to take the lead on that. You can't expect other people to be vulnerable if you're not able to do it yourself. So yes, it started out as like, oh, I was writing these anyway, and then I just started sharing them with the team. But as I got older in my career, I was like, oh, this is actually an important strategic part of leadership is to be able to have this, and it's just a little piece of that. Obviously, it's not enough by itself, but it's nice to be able to show that.
Yeah, that's cool. There's real strength and vulnerability.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be human in leadership. I definitely believe that. And vulnerability word is used a lot nowadays. It definitely wasn't when I was growing up, and it's definitely not one that you normally apply to sport either. So yeah, it's sports all about the facade and like looking impervious and putting on your armor and going out and competing. And there's definitely a place for that.
Yeah,
but it's also, you can't have that up all the time. It's too exhausting, and that's a waste of energy. So yeah, being able to like have the moments where you can let that down is really important. Yeah,
I like that. And that's a nice segue into the next question I had for you, which is on that point about being, an elite athlete and competitive swimmer, performing swimming at the Olympics. What does it actually take to get to that level?
It's a good question because, I mean, lots of people that I grew up with, that I swam with for years, like they didn't make it to the Olympics, but they had a lot of the characteristics that you could. So like there's definitely an element of talent. Like you actually have to be good at the sport that you pick. Like if I pick basketball or something, like I don't have any like hand-eye coordination or ability to jump or like anything. So I would not be good at basketball. I've got really flexible joints and like they enable me to do 19,000 swim strokes a week and still be doing it 20 years later. Like not everyone's joints can hold up to like, so there's definitely an element of like physicality and talent, but then there's an element of like discipline, and you have to have both of them. Like there's no one who's at the Olympics that doesn't have both of those things, talent and discipline in the area that they're in. And I mean, I've been to 4 Olympics and you look around and there's like every single different body type in the world is there. Like you've got like Simone Biles who's like 5 foot, 4'8", tiny. And then you've got like Yao Ming who's like 7'11" or something. Like he's just like huge. And everything in between. And so like there definitely is like the physicality matched with the sport, and then there's the determination and discipline to make that come to life. And you definitely have to have both.
Do you think you have to have an equal amount of both, or do you reckon like if you've got a bit of the natural physique and talent but a shit ton of discipline, do you think that can take you just as far?
Yeah, I think there's like a bit of a scale, and sometimes people slide up and down on it. Like I would definitely have trained with people who I would consider way more talented than me. Lots of people are way more talented than me. But the ability to be disciplined and pay attention to detail and work hard over time, that is, my previous coach just pointed out to me, he's like, that is also a talent. Like the ability to keep iterating and keep coming back and trying again. And we were making stroke changes, and he was like, I've never met anyone with such a talent for attention to detail. I was like, oh, I didn't think of that as a talent necessarily, but I guess it is. So I guess it's hard to be like, even being disciplined is part of it. It's like some people are very talented at like being able to like drill into discipline and actually like make it happen. So I think there's definitely, everyone's got a different approach, but it is, there's definitely athletes that like have all the talent in the world, some that I grew up with, and they didn't really want it. They didn't want it, they weren't passionate about it, and so they moved away from the sport, they went into something else, which is like totally fair. Not everyone has to be an Olympic swimmer. Yeah. And you definitely have to really love it. That's probably the third like ingredient is like the passion for it. Yeah. There's no one who's there that hasn't sacrificed a lot. And if you're going to be making sacrifices, it's probably for something like a reason. You have to have some sort of passion behind it.
Oh, 100%. And when you're prepping for the Olympics or for any competitive race, what does a day in the life look like?
When you're prepping for a competition, you normally have like a period of, you train hard all year and very intensive training. And then about 3 weeks out, you lower the intensity of training into what you call the taper period so that your body and nervous system can rest. And then you pull yourself out of that taper and get ready to compete. So like a day in the life when you're overseas, you'd still be training twice a day, but like the intensity of the training might be a little bit less versus when I'm like in my home training environment. It's like 5 o'clock wake up at the pool at 5:30, finish training by 9, go home, eat, sleep, recover, come back at 3, and then I leave training at about 7 that night.
Yeah, wow.
So that would be a normal day. So it's sort of like 5 to 6 hours like at the pool, and then recovery stuff outside of that. And broken up into like 2 sessions in the middle of the day free. So when I was working at EY, I would swim in the morning, and then I'd come home and do 4 hours of work in the middle of the day, and then go back to training at night. So
gosh.
Yeah, and I spread my work week out over, like I did like 3 days of work over 5 days by doing like 4 hours a day sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yes, so that was a very intense time, but there is like this little period in the middle of the day where people would be able to study or when I was then founding Earthletica, work on Earthletica. So there's like a little bit of this like middle time where everybody else is actually at work. Yeah. You can like get some stuff done because your training sort of sits outside of those hours normally.
Yeah. And so was it the same when you were studying as well? Because I was wondering, I was like, how was she swimming competitively and getting a degree? And I didn't realize that you were also working at EY while you were still
While I was training. Yeah. I mean, it's sort of a thing with Olympic sport is that mostly athletes are not paid super highly. So lots of the time they either have another job or they're studying on the side, getting ready for life after sport. It's in a way, it kind of forces you to do that because you know that this career is going to end at some point. So you have to make provision for the future. Whereas some of the other professional sports where sportsmen and sportswomen are more highly paid, it's sort of like, oh, I can get to the end and then maybe I've got like a buffer and I can like go to uni for a year or 2 and figure it out and then like get to the other side. And I know they try bring that into professional sport, you have to study, you have to do something outside of it because I think it does end up helping performance. As long as it's not too onerous, having more than one thing that you can think about in a day is quite nice. Like it brings a bit of perspective to the little sport bubble that you can like end up in. It's nice to have something that's like just beyond the pool.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like mixing things up a little and almost like, breaking out of that like narrow focus on one specific thing.
Yeah, I don't know if you find this at work. Like you like focus on one thing and you end up getting like a bit stuck.
Yeah.
It's almost like you step outside and you're talking to someone else or you're doing something completely different and then like it comes back to you and like you need to like switch it up and have different areas for creativity. And sport requires creativity because when you're, especially as an older athlete, when I actually have a bit of say in what we're doing and particularly with injury and rehab and stuff, like you have to be a bit creative to get to the goals that you want to get to. It's not just like keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's like, yeah, great, that worked when the environment was like this, but now I'm older or now I've got an injury. And so like, how do I keep getting to the same results, but I have to do it a different way now? And so you do have to have that like creative energy. And sometimes it comes from stepping away.
Yeah. If it's like people always say, go for a walk, or like when you're in the shower is when the answer will come to you because you're switching off or just completely thinking about something different. And that's when the penny drops.
Yeah, I think so.
Really interesting to kind of hear about how you almost have to constantly be reevaluating and pivoting, which makes sense, like particularly if you had a goal and you didn't quite reach it or not in the way you thought you would, or if you're dealing with injury. And so I'm curious how those scenarios or even like losing, like what has that taught you that winning perhaps wouldn't have been able to teach you?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because there's losing and winning are funny terms, and there's like success and failure are also like they seem like very finite terms. And to me, like any failure or any time when I thought, oh, I should have performed better than that, it's not like an end point in itself in the same way that success is not an end point in itself. Like the trajectory I thought my career would take and what you normally hear as the tale is like you start out here and like you're at the bottom of the graph and then you just slowly like you got time and you just keep going up the scale of things that you achieve. And it really just looks like a roller coaster, and that graph is just all over the place. It's got ups and downs and twists and turns. You don't know when you're at the bottom. You don't know when you're at the top. Yeah. It's all over the place. So I think that it's sort of well known, like, okay, cool, you have a result that you didn't really want or expect. Now let's go and evaluate why that happened. Just as important as like, I had a result that was better than I expected. Let's go away and evaluate why that happened. Yeah. Because you have to learn from both of them and know that neither of them are enough and neither of them are like the end point. Like both of them, like as a win or a success, it only lasts for a very short amount of time and then you got to race again. So like being able to actually have the humility to learn from your wins as well as your losses is probably the main thing. And like you know you're supposed to learn from your losses because everyone tells you that and you're like, oh, clearly something went wrong here. But being able to learn from your wins, and even if you get a desired outcome sometimes, so you look back, you're like, oh, there was still a lot of things I should have changed in that preparation, or there was still a lot of things that didn't go right in that race. And somehow it worked out, but that doesn't mean it was perfect. And I think that's where you get like the extra bits of like success and growth is from like learning from both of them, not just the failures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. It's very wise. And I feel like, because, you know, you've got quite a few years of experience under your belt now with competitive swimming, maybe like earlier on, because I feel like you're not quite at this stage now, but earlier on, did you really feel like you tied your identity to your performance and this idea of being an athlete? And, you know, what did that feel like when you started having to navigate, life after swimming, or, you know, what else do I want to do beyond swimming?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of discussion like, oh, don't tie your identity to the thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to say, and then it's quite difficult to do.
It's so hard to do.
It's very, very hard. Like, it was the one thing that, I decided I wanted to be an Olympic swimmer when I was 7 years old. And then I just relentlessly pursued that until I was 17 and I qualified for my first team. And then I was like, well, great. I just want to do more and more of this. And I just never stopped to evaluate any other options. Like, this is what I wanted to do. And it definitely becomes what you're known for. So even without noticing it, like, my world got a little bit smaller and smaller. Like, you just start having to let go of things and sacrifice things. Like, when you don't have the structure of school, it's like, okay, cool. Like, some of those friendships fall away. University is a lot more, you could do a lot more online. You don't end up like spending that. So your world becomes like very small and like small to the little bubble of swimming. And that definitely happened earlier in my career. And it wasn't so, I had a very good grounding in my parents. Like, they never made me feel like my worth was contingent on my results. I definitely never felt that from them, but it is the signal that you get like constantly from society. Like, you do well, so like everyone's all over you, and you don't do well. And it's not that everybody thinks you're worthless. It's often nobody knows what to say to you. And so they just like steer clear. I don't know if you ever seen this, like someone who's upset or like, it can happen around grief as well. Like, no one knows what to say, so they say nothing.
When
so
actually
like,
that's when you really need
that's what
people
you need,
the most.
It almost doesn't matter what you say, just say something.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a time like earlier in my 20s when like success in the pool, like I held it like very, very tightly as something that I was like pursuing with like a lot of my being. And there was a lot riding on it for me. It wasn't just a swimming race. Whereas now I still have this like ambition inside of me, but I don't hold it as tightly in my hands, it's a much nicer place to compete from because it's not all on the line every time you get out to race, which is nice.
Yeah. Letting it just flow.
Yeah, which is hard. The hard thing is you have to train. You have to train like your life depends on it and compete like you don't care. And that's very hard to like let those two things go, because by the time you get up to the blocks, all your work is done. You just have to like kind of get out of your own way and relax and let whatever happens flow out of you. But you've already got in my race, you got less than a minute or less than 30 seconds in the 100 and the 50 freestyle. So there is no margin for error at all. And you need to be completely exhausted at the 100-meter mark, not at the 99-meter mark. And not at the 98-meter mark, and you can't be exhausted at the 101-meter mark because that's like you've saved too much energy. So you've got to like time everything perfectly. It is a very, very hard race to get right, but it's it's just the most fun trying to do it. I think that's where the value is for me, is like to keep iterating and keep trying, and like that's where the fun bit is, because you spend most of your time in that. Like you spend most of your time preparing. It's only 1 minute of execution. Like it's not a long time.
Not at all. But you can definitely apply that principle to so many areas of life as well, right? It's like if you've done the prep, if you've done the work, then it's just about showing up and
let it happen. Like knowing that it will happen. I mean, I do 2 million minutes of preparation. That's how many minutes are in 4 years. So it's 2 million minutes of like spending your time and energy in that time, and then you've got 1 minute to convert it. That's it.
The ratio of
it's
minutes.
Not a good ratio.
No.
It's not a good pitch. Like honestly, it's not a good pitch to be like, hey, do you want to dedicate your life to this thing, sacrifice a lot of things, and at the end, if you're 1% off, it's the difference between coming first and eighth. And like, and you get one shot every 4 years and it's for 1 minute. Do you want to do that? Like most people say no. But that's because like, even as I pitch that, like the value is not in the 1 minute, the value is in the 2 million.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that you get from that are bigger than the result. Like no matter what the result, there's so much value in the work getting done. There's so many things I've learned from that, people I've met and all the rest of it. There's so much value in that goes well beyond the 1 minute. So it's very easy to just look at the race and be like, oh, that's the worthwhile thing that sport gives you. But I think it's so much bigger than that.
It's the 2 million minutes.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah.
I just heard that and I was like, that is a challenge. And it's really like, are you up for the challenge of dedicating 2 million minutes of your life multiple times to make it happen? That's cool.
Yeah, it's a nicer way. It's a nicer way for me to reframe it, to be like, it's already worth it before you walk out behind the blocks.
Yeah.
And that like takes the heat away. But as I said, that's not how I looked at it at the start of my career. I was like, everything matters so much. Like I'd be so upset after like any training session that didn't go well, any race that didn't go well. Just like I'm not like I wasn't especially then a big crier, but I'd be like angry at myself that I hadn't done a good job. So funny. Like look back, you're just like, oh, you poor little poppet. Like
just want to be like tap her on the back and go there. Yeah,
it's fine. Okay. Don't worry. Tomorrow will be fine. Everything's going to turn out okay.
Just chill. You've done the work. It's all good.
Yeah, it'll come good.
Yeah, it's cute. You mentioned before that, you did some time at EY and now you're founder and CEO at Earthletica. When you made those shifts into consulting for a short period of time and now into your CEO role, did you feel like a beginner again? And how do you handle that?
There's something really nice about being a beginner in that your learning curve is quite steep.
Yeah.
And so you get to make these like big gains in a really short time versus what I was doing in swimming was trying to get 0.1 of a second faster and had already done most of the really big leaps of the formative years. So you do get to look back at the end of a week and be like, whoa, like I've come a long way in a week, versus when you're trying to get like law of diminishing returns, you're trying to get that very top bit. You're like, I didn't progress at all this week because the amount of effort required just to get 1% better is so much when you're at the very peak of your game. So there's something really great about being a beginner in things. There is also something incredibly overwhelming about not knowing what the next step is. Mm. So there's like, it's a bit of a balancing act. It's like, there's like this freedom and then there's like this overwhelm. So there's parts of it that I love and I really enjoy, and like looking back, be like, whoa, particularly when I went into EY, which was my first corporate job, and just learning like the world of business and the way that you talk, the vocabulary in business, and you just
some of the jargon.
Yes, so much jargon, which I do try to use less of because it seemed really inaccessible to me when I first got there.
Yeah.
And people would be saying these acronyms. And I was like, I have no idea what any of this is. It made me feel very stupid. Often I'd ask like, hey, what is that acronym? They're like, I have no idea what it stands for, but this is what it means, which is very, very funny.
It's kind of comforting though.
It is comforting. It is comforting. And I had so many great people take me under their wing and really help me through that initial process and make it not feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it is really great to look back and see how far you've come. That's the cool thing about being a beginner everywhere.
Yeah.
But what I do struggle with is letting go of like being good at the things. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, especially given a CEO role within a startup with very few people, you're wearing multiple hats, and I have to know that I'm not going to be good, or I'm not going to be the best at each one of those things. Sometimes there's only a certain level I can get something to, and then it's like, okay, I need someone else to like take it to the next level, to the place that I need it to actually be. But there is often a gap between like what I want something to be and what my capabilities are to make it that, because you're looking at different, like so many different areas of the business. So that's where it's nice, because you've got a team and you can be like, okay, cool, I've got it to here. I now need our design people on this because I do not make things look pretty. So I've got the content of our deck together. I now need like Libby, my co-founder, like you've got the design eye. I need you to come in and finish this off. And it's nice to be able to tag team a result like that. I'm not used to having the ability to do that. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it means that, everyone can kind of contribute their strengths and skills in different ways. And then it's not all on you, which like it shouldn't be. So
no, but I mean, in sport, the result is like literally down to you.
So it's quite a difference.
Yes, it is. It is a difference, and letting go of some of that, like you have to make everything perfect yourself. Is really important.
100%. So on that point, I'm kind of interested to know, with your background as an athlete, what do you think has then been translated into an advantage as a founder, and what's something that maybe hasn't translated as well?
Yeah, I think the advantage is definitely like the discipline of doing something every day and like continuing to innovate at something and constantly evaluating, like, is this working? Is this not? Why is it working? Why isn't it working? And when I say that, like most of the time in sport, like the majority of the stuff that you do stays the same. And then you're like tinkering with little bits of it. And it's sort of the same in business. Like the core of our business, we're a sustainable activewear business. We make using recycled fibers, and we're looking for a path towards completely plastic-free activewear. That's what we're doing.
Which is amazing.
And so there's an element of that that's like, okay, cool. You have to like make something that's really great, that performs really well, that looks really good, that people can feel comfortable in, that they could work out in, that they could like withstand a heavy sweat, that can last for years and years and years. Great. Like that part of the product stays the same. And then there's this piece of like, okay, but like what's the new tech that we can bring in? What's something better than what's existed before? How can we get that into our supply chain? So there's like an element of like this bit that's sort of like, there's a standard that has to be set that's really high, and you keep maintaining that while bringing more and more little bits of innovation in. And that's actually very similar to a training process, as well as like, I know that building a product business is like a big long slog. It's the 2 million minutes. And then like there's a moment where it converts and it gets like momentum, and it's like, but that you can't focus on that moment. I think in startups in particular, you hear a lot of stories of like, oh, like then this one moment everything changed and everyone spends a lot of time chasing like, when is that moment going to happen? Whereas I know from sport that the value lies in the work underneath, and then that one moment will happen, but it'll take care of itself, and there's no point chasing it because you can't really predict exactly when it's going to happen. I would say the thing that's not like sport is that like the rules are very defined in sport. It's like very finite. It's very like it's measured in time. Like it's like a certain length. Like it's very, very controlled environment, whereas the world is not like that. And so again, like letting go of the illusion of control and learning to ride the wave a little bit more is very important in business, because there are so many different factors going on all over the world at all times that are going to influence like what happens in my business. And so like taking ownership of the things that I do have control over, and then really like letting the things that are outside of control, watching them, but not letting them get to me is quite difficult, but good.
Yeah, it's always going to be challenging to navigate. Today's interview with Bronte is sponsored by Glowreel, athletic nutrition built for the long game. Designed for lifelong athletes who train hard, think sharp, and aim to stay strong for decades to come. Learn more about their performance-driven daily formula at glowreel.com. So with Earthletica, really interested to hear more about what's the actual problem that you're trying to solve with your activewear, because obviously there's like benefits for the planet, but then also benefits for us as humans wearing your, much more friendly, chemical-free products.
Yeah, so it's it's a pretty weird leap to go be like, oh, hey, I'm an athlete. Oh, suddenly I'm founder at a sustainable activewear company. Like, why on earth would I do that to myself? Lots of people would be like, why would you do that to yourself? Like, you've just come from like this really intense environment in sport. Now you go to another really intense one. And it really came to me when I found out that most activewear is made with 100% new plastic and treated with really harmful chemicals. And then you're wearing this on your body all day, every day. Like, that's what I would normally be wearing every day, all day.
And it's like it's fitted as well. So it's like it's on you.
Yeah, it's like really on you. And that's actually the part of the big challenge, is that to have something that has got stretch and compression and support like activewear does, and like you need when you're working out, you need to have elastane. And elastane is a synthetic fiber that's made from plastic. So that's the core of it. To have anything that's got stretch and compression, elastane is the only way that we can really achieve this over a long period of time. You might have like bamboo, which has a little bit of this, but not enough to be in leggings that aren't going to like fall down and be saggy. So that's the core problem there. And so when I first found out, it's like, okay, it's 100% new plastic, and then all of this is just going to landfill. That was like, this is not acceptable. Surely there's another way. And there wasn't anyone that was doing it from the ground up. There was like a few of the big brands were doing maybe one product, like one out of 15,000. So they're like, look at this great product. You're like, yeah, but
we're saving the planet.
Yeah, we're saving the planet. You're like, yeah, but you got 50,000 SKUs and just one of them is using recycled materials. Like, that's not going to save the planet. So they really did come at it from the plastic pollution side of things, and then really learning more about, if you take a virgin plastic, like a new plastic, the chemicals that you have to treat it with in order to make it into something soft enough to be in clothing are really harsh, and they're forever chemicals that will stay in the world forever. And then they're next to your skin and can be absorbed into your skin. So there's a lot there as well. So we started out with recycled fibers. So all of our products it's a 75% recycled and 25% new fibers in everything and across the entire supply chain, which is better than anybody else is doing in the industry. And like I said, across the entire group, not just one product at a time. But it has to have the performance as well. So this is like the really tricky thing, is that to have something that you're going to wear for many, many years and over many workouts, it has to have the performance element to it, which is where bamboo fell down as a fiber because it didn't last for long enough, and you end up throwing those clothes away. And on the throwing clothes away piece, it's like, okay, what happens to our clothes after we've finished with them? And so we partner with Apparel, who recycle the clothes back into other products. You, the consumer, when you're done with them, can ship them to Apparel, and you'll earn a discount with us if you want to repurchase whatever you've just thrown out. And Apparel will come and take the product and make it into something else. So it's diverting from the start, like diverting the products from landfill, and then at the end diverting it again, which is really important. But it's not the end of the road. Like, I'm so clear on this that we use natural fibers in all of our outerwear. We make sure we never use 100% virgin plastic. We never add chemicals. We test all of our products for over 100 harmful chemicals before they put on your skin. Like, we're doing the best that we can now, but it is not the end. The end is completely plastic-free activewear. And what does that look like? And we're working with a product lab in the US right now on what those solutions could be, looking at plant-based elastanes and how we could make these into fabrics. And that's the really end goal. But it's I definitely want to be at that goal so much faster. I want to be there right now. Yeah. But it's doing what's available to us now, doing what's better than anyone else is doing with what's available right now, and continuing to innovate. And our commitment to that, like our jacket that we made had 2 world first in sustainable garment technology, and that should not have happened from such a tiny company. So we're sort of proving that we can be at the cutting edge of innovation, as well as like make a product that people really want to use. Tim Brown says this all the time, from Allbirds founder. Like, you have to make a better product, not just a more sustainable product. It has to perform to a really high level. And that's the standard that we hold ourselves to, because if people don't feel held, supported, if it's not comfortable, if it's not sweat wicking, then it's not going to be a change that they're willing to make. And maybe this is going to sound like a dig, but like paper straws are a really great example of this. And like we want to use them from like a planet perspective, but they're not very good to use. Like not many people purchase them themselves. The fact that it was put into industry and regulated is the only reason that change happened. So if we want change to happen at consumer level, we have to make something that's actually better to use. Like activewear that they actually feel like a superwoman in. Yes. They could go and work out, they put it on, they feel like put together and sleek and held and supported and all of that. So it has to do that first, and then we can like build in as much sustainability as we can around it. And there's definitely other approaches. Like there's other brands that are like, okay, we only want to use hemp. And that's part of the solution, because if you're just walking or doing yoga, then hemp is quite good. But if you're doing like a boxing workout, it doesn't hold up under that amount of stress.
You really love big challenges.
Yeah. I mean, and when we started talking about looking at funding, people were like, I mean, we're 2 females, 1 male on the founding team. And they were like, okay, mixed gender founders, they get like 5% of the funding. And I was like, well, the chance of going to the Olympics is 0.001%. Like the odds are actually a lot better than the career that I just came from. So let's just go after it and make it happen.
Yeah, that's such a cool perspective. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about perspective, isn't it?
It is. It really is. And also I think your experience as an athlete and that constant iterating and how can we do better, how can we improve, I can really hear that translating into Earthletica as well. Like, you know, what have we got now? How can we do this in a way that's better? And then how do we keep building and improving? Your jacket is awesome, by the way. It's so cool.
We love the jacket.
Very
We're very proud of that.
Yeah, it's very cool. So you mentioned as well about raising like capital, and you're just about to close a crowdfund raise, and this is the second time Earthletica has gone out to raise. So round 1 last year was VC. Yeah,
so we did like a safe round last year. So it's not like a priced round. It was people coming in on safe notes, and we did go around to a lot of VCs. We ended up mainly raising from angels in that round, but this is like the end of like the actual priced round. And it's been a really interesting process. Product and consumer businesses are not well supported in the VC market in Australia until a bit later stage. So in a seed round, Australia is a really hard place for consumer and also product, and we're both of those things. It was like, oh, what's another way we could do this? And we looked overseas at other consumer brands that had done really well from crowd raising. Revolut's probably a really good example in the UK.
I didn't know that they did.
Yeah, that's how they started.
That's cool.
It's a really good way to build your community and your customer base. And any of our investors that have come in this, we call it a crowdsource funding round, so CSF, anyone who's come in this round, I really view them as partners in the business. And they're also like so keen to go and talk about Earthletica to all of the people in their networks. And it really does bring this community and groundswell to a business as well. So it's been amazing. Like we went out and we had 1,300 expressions of interest within a week. It was really incredible, the response, which really shows the hunger that people have to see something different happen in this space. And then in the first 48 hours, we hit our minimum target. So we'd raised over 350 in the first 48 hours, which was just crazy. Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing.
It was really, really amazing. And again, like viewing this as the community around us are really showing that they want this and to be part of the next phase of building the future of activewear. It's a $600 billion global market. It's huge. So to impact that is really important to us.
Yeah, absolutely. What's something about the fundraising process that's really surprised you?
I think I've been surprised about the willingness of people to open their doors and their knowledge. So we're a very early stage business, and normally you'd be talking to, say, like a private equity company. You might be talking to that like way down the line when you're at 50 million ARR, not where we're at. However, people have been like, oh, yeah, I run a private equity firm. Come sit with me and let's talk about your financial modeling and like what like traction things we want to look at and how to build a customer acquisition model. And they'll just sit down with me and just share their knowledge with me and build a model together. And that has been like universal across the landscape. Anyone who I've gone to where it's like, oh, I know that we don't fit you for funding. I'm always like, oh, who else can you introduce me to? And what else could you help me with in the business? Because often they're like, oh, I'd love to help you. And you're like, okay, so these are the 4 things that I need to do. Can you help with any of these? And the willingness of people to step into that space, even if it's not with money all the time, is really cool to see. And not what I expected. People say like, oh, you gotta look out in the funding. It's like, there's lots of sharks, there's lots of this. And maybe there is, but I have not really come across that. It's been quite a giving community, I've found.
That's really nice. I wouldn't have expected that.
No,
either.
And I don't know whether that's just my experience, but it was surprising to me.
Yeah. I'd be so curious to know like if that is more of the norm now, is like, that'd be nice.
I do think that sometimes coming with a career in sport, people are a lot nicer to me than to other people. And it's quite possible. Like I'm aware.
She's won gold medals.
I'm aware. I'm aware that I might get some favoritism.
You've got to make the most of it though.
Yeah.
You've got to leverage what you can.
Exactly.
And then from your safe round last year, what's something that you learned through that you've kind of been able to take into your current round or just kind of take forward with the business in general?
Yeah, so the safe round, we talked to people for a year, talking to them and finding the right people. And I think that learning is really what we've taken forward, is that you need money to grow the business, but you also need people who are on your team and the extra skill set that they bring as well. And so many of our investors, our early investors, bring so much more. I mean, one of them, Billy, he runs Billio, which is a product lab in the US, and we partner with them on creating new innovation. And like, yes, he invested with money, and yes, he owns part of the business now, but like the extra bits that they end up bringing, and these long-term partnerships that you have, they're really valuable. Probably a really good reframe is when I first started going out and pitching, I really felt like I was going around like hat in hand to everybody and being like, oh, how are they viewing me? How are they evaluating me? And it's actually a two-way street. Like, it's a long-term relationship that you end up building with your early stage investors. So you have to be evaluating each other and be like, do I want to work with this person long-term as well? What's the extra value that they're bringing to my business? And it's not just about a check in the end. It's about that relationship and the other benefits that you guys can see yourselves working on together. So I definitely had to reframe that in my mind and be like, oh, we both need each other in this ecosystem, because it can really feel like, especially in the beginning, that you're just like almost going around like trying to prove yourself over and over again. Yeah. But it is a two-way street, and investors need startups in the same way that startups need investors, and being able to like readjust that balance in my mind was really important.
Yeah, totally. It's almost like just a job interview in general, and you kind of being like, oh my gosh, like I'm so nervous, and then it's like actually you're also kind of interviewing them.
Yeah, yes, it's exactly the same as a job interview. It's like, yeah, I'm auditioning for this job, but also, do I want to work at this company? Yeah. And if you're in the lucky position to decide that, then like brilliant. And like, I mean, I've done about 2 job interviews in my life because I interviewed to be at EY, and then I've done some leadership position interviews, but I never had to interview to be a swimmer. But it's worth keeping in mind as you go in. Like, it's a two-way street.
Always.
Yeah.
And so, by the time this episode goes live, your current round will have closed. But, do you think it'll be something that you'd look at doing again in future based on how the round's been going so far?
Yeah, I think the goal is to not have to be on this raised train that everybody gets on. Yeah. And to make the business profitable as quickly as possible.
Of course, yeah.
That's the real goal. So raising again in the future, like only if there's a need for it, a specific need, and something that we really need to achieve, that we need extra capital for. And like right now we're focused on expansion in Australia and then looking at overseas channels as well. So those are like our sort of 2 main areas now, and raising in the future only if necessary.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I guess with your kind of partners in the US as well, like if you're looking to expand there, it's nice to have that connection.
Yeah, we're lucky with that.
All right. So my last question for you today is, what is your original sin?
I love this question. I love that you asked me this question. I did have a big think about this. Like, what is it that you want people to know that they don't know now from like looking behind the scenes? And I would just say, like, whatever room you end up being in, you belong there. You might not speak the same sort of language and jargon that's going on around you, but there is always a reason that you're there, and you absolutely belong there. And you probably know as much, if not more, than other people in the room. Don't take your past for granted and all the other things that you bring to the table. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to know the most about everything in the room, but I do think that that's like stepping into the room and then just being like, okay, cool, I belong here. And I had to do that in an Olympic final. Like, I literally, my first Olympics, I felt like, I stepped out behind the blocks. I was like, I don't know how to be an Olympian. It's like, well, you're here, you're in the room, you earned your spot. Whatever room you end up being in, there's a reason that you're there, and like holding on to that reason and taking that forward as your superpower. Often we see our weaknesses and we forget about what our strengths are because they're almost invisible to us. The things that come easy to you, you don't notice because they're not a struggle. It's like hold on to those things and use them to anchor yourself. And yeah, you really do. I don't know what room anyone's walking into, but if you're in it, there's a reason you're in it.
I like that. I like that a lot. Just walk in, take up space, and just be you.
Yeah, that's it. There's a reason that you're there. And yeah, I mean, I love the point about being you, because particularly as women, you can look at leaders and be like, most leaders are male. And so you're like, that's what leadership looks like. Be like, no, there's a leadership way that feels true to you. And maybe it is, you can take from all different people and figure out what that is. Make a bespoke version of that feels good to you, but it doesn't have to be one way. That's for sure. I definitely I'm not like a big, loud, like out the front, like yelling sort of person, which is often what you see in a sports team. So my leadership style is a little bit quieter, and that's still valuable. And I can't do the big yelling thing, but there's still value in the things that I'm doing.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And your record shows that, like with all of the success you've had, you know, as an athlete, working as a consultant, and now as a founder and CEO. It's so cool. You're so multifaceted. It's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bronte, for coming in today and for sharing your story and just sharing more about Earthletica. And I'm really excited to see how the crowdfund raise, like how that lands, and just to see what's next with the brand.
Thank you. We can't wait to get everyone in Earthletica all over the world.
Yes, absolutely.
World domination, here we come.
Actually, for anyone who wants to check the brand out some more, like where can they find you?
We're online, so earthletica.com. We're on Instagram, TikTok. There'll be a link in my bio as well. So if you're following me on Instagram, you'll find me there as well.
Perfect. And we'll link it in the episode as well.
Thanks, Shilpa.
Thank you.